Very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us right here on Kirk Mid Morning. Yet another beautiful Tuesday that we meet on air. My name is Faith Kaulu. Do interact with us on our social media pages, that is Kirk TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. Any questions or comments you have regarding our topic of discussion today, they're welcome, and we'll be having a look at them. Now, in studio with me this morning is Cindy. Karibu sana to our studio today. Miss International Kenya 2022, you look lovely.
So much, you too.
And at the very far end, the only gentleman with us this morning is Liki Odera, the chairman, Miss University Africa. Yeah, Miss University Africa. Karibu sana to our program.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes.
I will start by asking, how are you today?
I'm feeling good. It's a pleasure being part of this program this morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Cindy, I must comment you. You look so, what can I say? You're seated very upright.
Thank you.
You learned, taught, or it's natural?
I think that's how people term me as, like I said, upright or elegantly even when I walk. But I think, I didn't learn it. Maybe it comes naturally. When you do modeling from time to time. It's been a lot of years of modeling, yeah.
Great. Let me allow you to introduce yourself to us very well. I just said one of your titles. You could tell us more.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm Cindy Isendi and Miss International Kenya 2022 and the Beauty of Africa International Pageant winner of 2020. I'm also a professional accountant, and in my free time I love tutoring mathematics.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Liki as well. Tell us all of what you do when it comes to being the chairman of Miss University.
My name is Liki Odera, like I said. I manage a pageant called Miss University and a few others. So I sit in a board that now manages the beauty pageant here. What actually happens, all the universities go through a contest in their universities. Then after that, we get them to contest in the national event. Then after that, we send them to a continental event, which is held annually in Nigeria. Yes.
Okay. Great. I think I'd like to start with you, Cindy.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your story. When did modeling begin for you?
Modeling began after high school, and basically when I was in, I think, my third year in campus.
Okay.
And yeah, I started in 2017, and with a pageant in Kenya. So, and I was very, very lucky to meet Liki, who's been my pageant mentor all through. And for my first pageant, it was really great, a great opportunity. I became one of the finalists, but did not win. So that brought me a lot of motivation and mood to continue and continue. So from there, I tried another pageant as well in my hometown in Kakamega. So I also became like the second runner-up. So, and then also you just keep on trying because pageantry is all about persistence. And I did my third pageant, which was Beauty of Africa International Pageant, Kenya, and then I won it. So with that, it was really great, and I got the opportunity to represent Kenya in Nigeria. So it was a 2-week sport camp in Nigeria where we had like about 30 contestants around Africa. And then I also won the Beauty of Africa International Pageant in Nigeria. So that was a very great opportunity, really, which also opened more and more doors for me. So I recently did Miss International. So Miss International is the third biggest pageant in the world, and it's held in Japan. And the pageant we did last year, December, was the 60th anniversary. So it's been there for 60 years.
Yeah.
So I went to Japan in December, and we were there for 1 month with 70 beautiful ladies from across the world. And it was also like the best opportunity I got. Really,
Before, because you mentioned you started modeling in campus. Before that, is it something you had wanted to do
Yes, it's something that I had wanted to do, but
Okay.
I never got the opportunity to start. So, of course, I've been watching all through from a very young age. I've been
Yeah.
watching like the whole Miss World Kenya and everything about pageantry. So I've been very passionate about it, but my school did not like motivate that, of course. So I didn't get the opportunity to start it early. So that's when I went to campus in Nairobi. Now I started looking for opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Liki, how did you end up, you know, in this pageantry world?
It's been a long journey. I've been in pageantry for over 20 years.
Okay.
We started with the campus pageant. Then in 1999, Miss World Kenya was absent for almost 10, 15 years. So a doctor called Dr. Nyamo bought the franchise from London, from Miss World. And at that process, him being a doctor, he didn't understand what exactly pageantry is all about.
Yeah.
So he got everyone who is in the industry to help. So there was Terry Mugai, who was the current franchise holder, Miss World. There was Kamunge, who was the franchise holder for Miss Tourism. The Jimmy Gathus, the guys who were there in the 90s entertainment. So in that process, they were just trying, it's like a wedding committee. So somebody said, oh, there are young guys who are doing something in campus, and they're already doing pageantry. So, and apparently at that time we just had to register the company with my friend, friends. One, the late Kevin Ombajo, the owner of True Black, the now ambassador in America, Ted Kwaka, Big Ted, famous, and a guy called Dixon. So I went and met Daktari. He was running his clinic and also running an entertainment company called Nippos Entertainment. So that's where I started. So we organized Miss World for 4 years. That was 1999, Esther Mode, 2000, Yolanda Masinde, Daniela Kimaru, 2002, then Marianne Karaoke before Ashley took over. So in that process, it was a learning process doing international and also going for the international events in London and stuff.
Yeah.
And the most amazing part of this was in 2001, and the only time and the first time for an African girl to win. That was the Nigerian girl in South Africa, Sun City. So when the franchise was taken in 2002, and then in 2005, Pivot Point Urembo, which was also a big school of hairdressing, got the Miss Universe franchise. So in 2005, I organized that for them. They called me to manage that for them. And that Rachel Mbuki won that event, and she went to represent Kenya in Miss Universe. So in that process, I was thinking, I'm already in love with this, and I don't want to leave it. So in 2009, I started my own pageant, and then these Nigerians called me and said they're already doing Miss University Africa, so why don't I be incorporated and be the African Kenyan manager for Miss University? And so for the last almost 12 years, 13 years, I've been doing Miss University, but with a lot of other pageants in terms of assisting, developing the pageantry industry. Lucky enough now, after Cindy went, the Japanese have approached me to do the Miss International, which I signed the contract last Friday. So by the time you're calling me, I was getting a franchise, I think. Sometimes God works in different ways. So it's been a challenge. In fact, before, in the 90s, late 90s when we started, most parents did not believe in pageantry. Religion did not believe in pageantry. But it's now changing with time. And we're happy about it. We're seeing very young kids getting into pageantry. Then even your sister in campus would not be allowed because they thought these slim girls are going to look for muzungus, they failed in school. But realizing like in 1999, the lady that won Esther Mode was a first class honors in economics. She missed her graduation at that time. So that mentality of the girls who've lost and stuff like that started changing. I think 20 years later, things are totally different, and we thank God for that. Yes.
I think for me, first of all, congratulations for that, and for the progress. it's your memory for me, how you remember all these details from way back. I mean, wow, that's superb. You've touched on something I wanted to ask, how the industry has changed since then, seeing that you've been in it for 20 years. You've mentioned a few things long time ago. You'd say, this is what I want, and parents will look at you like, are you serious? But even hearing from Cindy, I think I was even mesmerized when you say you tutor mathematics, you're an accountant,
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about how this industry has evolved and changed.
First, let me just remove that perception that these girls are losers. One of the things is pageantry people don't understand, because sometimes you hear people saying, number 2 should have been number 1 or number 3 should have been number 1. There's a lot that goes behind the scene. On the night of the event, when they look glamorous and stuff, it's only 40%. That inner beauty is judged before.
Okay.
So you might be very beautiful out, but your deeper inner beauty is out. So we look at a lot of stuff, and that needs to get out. And we are very grateful that now TV station is giving us the opportunity to talk about what exactly goes behind the catwalk. There's more to it than just what we see on the internet. I keep telling guys, the first beauty queen was Esther in the Bible. So when we're challenged by Christians that why are we letting girls walk on the catwalk? I personally would rather have done without the catwalk and done the 60%, which is leadership and inner beauty. So that's already, people are learning, and now when we start with the kids pageant, by the time they're getting there, we'll be competing with Philippines who sleep dream pageantry. The Indians, the Venezuelans, so they start at that tender age. So I think at that time we'll be at that stage where we can actually compete in that level. But to go back to your question is, how has it evolved in the last 23 years that I've been there? I think it's growing, but there's a time when the industry went down. I keep challenging the guys who are doing the bigger events, because, for example, if we now start looking at statistics, for example, we're in a TV station, the guy who will get the largest amount of money in terms of advertising is that person who's been there longer. And this goes to pageantry, where Miss World, Terry Mungai would get more money than the rest of the pageants. In 2001-2, we gave cars then. Yolanda Masinde won a Mitsubishi, Esther Mudhe won a Daihatsu. 20 years later, they're winning a small amount of prize. That means the value has gone down. So for me, I would think if we actually continue doing it to this age, would be at that level of South Africa where the winning girl wins a BMW Mercedes, that car that any girl who is getting into the work industry want to drive. That would be one of the things that would change. In South Africa, the winner wins a Mercedes, she wins a house for 1 year. Sometimes the win is like in 2018, they won Miss Universe. So this girl has a house in Cape Town, in Joburg, and she has a house in New York because the headquarters for Miss Universe was in New York. So she's lost of choice. What that brings to a country is we have more people working towards being beauty queens because they can see the value. They're on all the billboards, they are on all corporate events because of the personality. You become a celebrity when you become a queen. Now, that is lost. But I'm so happy that the current Minister of Youth and Culture is helping the youth develop their talent. And I think he loves creativity. So I think 3 weeks ago or a month ago, he formed a task force that is working towards getting those people who are even on the grassroots trying to promote art. They're seconding me to a committee that will go to the entire country. And when they say the entire country, it's from every ward That means we'll go to Turkana and look for that girl that London, New York fashion weeks are looking for. We'll get the best of Kenyans to compete in the Miss Universe, Miss World. There are many beauty pageants in the world. There are over 300 pageants, but at least the 5 major ones, Kenya contests. And we want to try and avoid where we go to escort. We want to bring the crown back home. It's not very easy. Like I said, for 71 years, Africa has only won Miss World once, the Nigerian girl. And again, I say, we thank God, because her question on that night was, if you were left in a desert, what would you carry? And her answer was a Bible. And the whole crowd, I was there with her, I was there in the crowd, and we just went wild. What else? She said water. And we knew she had gotten it. So for 71 years, no black girl has won. At least Miss Universe, we've had 3 girls from the southern part of Africa, Angola and South Africa. Luckily, Kenya has won, not won on stage, but in 2001, Miss Earth, the winning girl, we were runners-up. Kenya was runners-up. Okay. So the winning girl was runners-up. So what happens is, when you are decrowned, or you lose the crown, or you lose as a winner, then the runners-up is crowned. So Winnie Mwaki from Kenya was the first African girl to, in fact, the only girl from Africa that has carried the crown for Miss Earth. Yes. Okay. So I think we can do it. Yeah. If she did it then, it just needs a few changes that we are working, I'm working to make sure before I retire and leave the younger generation of Akina Cindy taking to the next level. Yes.
Cindy, we come to you. There's something Liki mentioned, you know, back then the unserious people were the ones who, or rather that's what was the perspective, who engaged in pageantry, modeling and all that. And here you are, smart, I must say. I'd like to hear from you, how did people react? This is family, friends, when you told them, by the way, I want to take this thing seriously? Yeah.
So as Liki mentioned, the perspective of pageantry is changing, and it's changing to the better. Because back then, of course, it was not perceived well, in fact, in our country. But now, at least when you explain to someone exactly what you do, when you mention the purpose of pageantry, because pageantry is basically in Kenya, we ensure pet projects are done well. So we really make an impact or change the community with our sashes on, plant trees, pick up litter. So we are trying to slowly change the perspective of pageantry for people to know we have a purpose to be in it, and it's not just about the beauty. So slowly but surely going on. Well.
So for you, did you experience anyone discouraging you?
Not really. My parents have been very supportive about it from the first pageant. I remember that night they were there. I think my parents, of course, they sleep by 9, but then the pageant started at around 10 and it ended at around 4 a.m. So they were there like watching from the beginning to the end. So they've been very supportive, my whole family and my friends. And I think for them seeing me just still doing my studies, I did 2 courses in campus, which was Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting and CPA, Certified Public Accountants. So for them seeing me doing that and still doing pageantry as a co-curricular activity was just a wow to them. And up to now they motivate people, and even young girls, please just join pageantry as long as it does not derail you from what you have to do in your life.
How were you able to, you know, can I say, maintain or juggle between these two things?
I think it's just with proper planning and then proper leadership and mentorship. When you have good people behind you who, of course, advise you from time to time. It's not an easy task, but just plan your time and, of course, get advice from the people who know. And that's why I'm saying I think Liki is a savior in this industry, really. When you're with him, I think things like go smoothly, and he knows what to do. So with his advice, like you have to do this and this, it's just a bit easier for people.
Okay, you mentioned You went to your first, you didn't win.
Yes.
Your second.
Yeah.
Then there's one you became a runners-up. But you kept going.
Yes.
What kept you going?
Because to be honest, pageantry, it's just all about showing people what you can do to help the society in any way. And I think it brings a platform like for you. So I think the resilience came because I'm really, my project is education for young children, and I really wanted to push it. So every single time I went, I just knew when I become like Miss something, I think I will have a great opportunity and a big opportunity to do what I do. So yeah, I just kept like going on to show people like the courses that I have for them. Yeah, and it eventually worked out in the long run.
So it was not only about winning, but also trying to push this agenda.
Yes, I think the main idea was basically trying to push the agenda and show young girls like of course what pageantry is. And then in Kakamega, as I said, most people there are a lot of people who have very good models, who have very good models basically, and do not have the opportunity to do it. So I just wanted also to let them know that they can do it. And yeah, as pageantry is not like very well pushed there, so I wanted them to know, as much as where you are from, it's very possible for you to do it.
Great. I think I'd ask you both. We'll start with Licky. There's something about models. Of course, they have this body structure. They have to be tall, as we see it. Why is this a requirement? Maybe for someone who's watching us to be able to understand why it's a requirement.
For a very long time, like I said, pageantry started almost 71 years ago by a gentleman called Eric Morley and the wife. He passed on about 20 years ago, but the wife is still going on, Julie Morley. Ideally, what pushed them to pageantry was the world has just gone out of two world wars. This was 1951. The second one had just ended in 1945. So they wanted something that would bring the world together in happiness. And said, what can we do to bring, and pageantry, PAP started. And they had rules. It's just like football, there have to be 11 players. So, and the rule was 36, 24, 36. That's the bust, the hips, and the waist. That went on for till to date. But in the last 10, 15 years, we've seen pageantry changing, and we have plus size. 20 years ago, the men came now into pageantry. And those guys like modeling, if you can do pageantry, for example, there's a lot of advertising going on. We have the hostessing jobs for international exhibitions and stuff like that. So you find somebody is doing an ad for Coca-Cola. All they're looking for is their fingers. You see, like, may his soul rest in peace, Papa Shirandra. I don't know if they remember his Brcha. That was the biggest, in fact, he won many international awards during that time. If somebody said that was a model, then somebody would say, hey boss, I thought models were slim and stuff. That's what comes to people's mind, because that's what we were told when growing up. Just for example, those guys who grew in Nairobi, there's a petrol station on Haile Selassie called National Oil, but people still call it Ajip because we're used to Ajip. So that has changed, and anyone can be a model. Yes.
Okay. Or anyone
can be a model. Yes.
Okay. But participate to take part in a pageantry?
Yes, pageantry, like I said, there are many rules. Like in football, there's 11 aside, 5 aside. You can just change your rules. So Miss World, the rule is 24, 36, 24, 36. There are rules where they say, we're looking for people like Faith. This is what we want. We want curvy, we want plus size, and this overally around the world, people aside pageantry. That's why I said, like for the last almost 20 years, we've had pageants growing from like 15 to 300. So like now, there's Miss World in 1951, then there was Miss Universe in 1952, then there was Miss International in 1960, then now Miss Earth in 2000, then the rest now just, there was a gap, almost 50 years gap. Yes, yes.
Great. For you, Cindy,
Yeah.
tell us about, of course, I want to talk about your physique and your body structure.
Yeah.
Are there any pressures that come, with that?
Yeah. Yeah, so of course, I'll back up what Liki said. From a long time, there have been, of course, beauty standards that were meant to be. But then right now, the pageantry sector is very diverse. And to be honest, there is no like very much pressure as it was. My favorite Miss Universe was Harna's, and she was Miss Universe 2021 from India. And it came to a point where everyone started, of course, body shaming her and talking very bad with her. But she did her reign with so much prestige and so much like ambition. So right now, even Miss Universe is allowing women to do pageantry, and they extended the age, and you can be married, which was not before, and you can have kids, which was not accepted before. So the pageantry is changing because, of course, it's just not about your beauty, and that's what I'm happy that most pageantry are going into. Of course, it's not all, but as a beauty queen, you have to know what can suit you well, and between all the pageantry we have, you can just like go to the one that suits you well. So the beauty standards are changing very, very quickly for now.
You mentioned that a few years back, of course, there's the pressure that comes with that.
Yes.
But now that things are changing, it's not that much,
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think what is seen right now is basically how fit you are, not your physique. You can be very fit, and you're either slim or not slim, which is very okay. So right now, I think even they just want to ensure you're fit, and like we have very much exercise going on in the boot camps, just to ensure you are taking care of your body and you're like really, really fit. So,
Okay. I don't want us to go back to, you attending, can I say, the competitions outside of Kenya? You mentioned Japan, Tokyo.
Yes.
These opportunities, what did they expose you to? How are they life-changing?
It is life-changing. To start with, Tokyo has extremely amazing people. Like the culture in Tokyo, I was there, and every day I was like, wow, wow, wow. Because Japanese, they are very kind and soft people. Like the culture there, I really learned a lot when I was in Tokyo for 1 month, and just up to now, I can say I'm a changed person from how I react to people from them. And of course, it exposes me a lot because I meet a lot of people, and we have this very big forum after the pageant where you just interact and network with everyone. And at least I met a lot of Japanese who are doing like charity works in Homa Bay and every place in Kenya, and I was so amazed and happy. And even right now, like 2 of them are coming in 2 months' time. So of course, it's just building your network and making you know a lot of people and to help back in your country, really. So and like I can talk a lot about Tokyo. The food is amazing, and despite from that, we were like 70 contestants, and like every single place you just discover like we are all from different places, but we are all similar in one way. So it was just like 1 month of knowing 70 new countries, and it's just like a life-changing experience, really.
Any challenge you experienced? Any moment you
really
felt scared?
No, not at all. It's a very safe, beautiful country. I think the challenge is, of course, with language, because most of them do not know English. So it's a bit hard to communicate sometimes, but you eventually end up communicating in one way or another. But apart from that, it's just like, the most amazing and smooth journey I was.
Great.
That's
okay. Liki, I'd come to you because when you're taking a participant, I don't know if you accompany them. Do you accompany them?
Yes, sometimes I do.
All right.
Yes.
I don't just talk about that. How is it on your end? Have you experienced some challenging candidates? And then also, when you end up arriving in the country with them, how do you view the comparison? Maybe is this country more exposed or better placed? The industry is better placed than Kenya. What can you say about that?
Yeah, some of the countries have taken pageantry very serious, like Pakistan, Filipino, India, the North American countries, Venezuela's, Puerto Rico. So at that point, they've gotten into a government sponsoring the event.
Okay.
So it's like Harambee Stars winning the World Cup, or just going into quarterfinals or semi-finals of the World Cup. So the whole country is excited. If you go online during Miss World, Miss Universe, Miss Earth, the big pageants, and now it's a live conversation. Every one conversation, there are 20 Filipinos and supporting their people. We've not only gotten there because, one, there's minimum support from the corporate, and the government hardly come on board. One very successful time that I went for the pageant, the 2 times. The recent one was when I was going to Korea to send a representative in Miss World, World Miss University. We were lucky to have an opportunity through our able director of youth in the previous regime, Walter Nyambane, who understood art. So he sent us to State House to meet with the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, who gave us some money in terms of per diem, and also asking Kenya Film Board to come on board. So we were about 6 people who went, and there's a lot of moral support. Most of the time, you find the franchise owner and just one the contestant. And comparing with the people like Philippines, there are 200 of them. So again, in pageantry, there's part where they say crowd appeal gives the judges more opportunity to give you a chance. That was one of it, and the most successful one was the 2001 when the Nigerian girl won. That year, the winner was Daniela Kimaru. I don't know, maybe because she was born again, there was so much that came with that. The dad was, that time it was not MC, he was a councillor for Central Business, that's CBD, Mr. Kimaru. So, and then the mayor, who now is equal to the governor, Joe Ketch, who also loved art. So Joe, because he's councillor, the councillor's daughter had won, gave 10 tickets to the secretariat to travel to South Africa. Not just that alone, and because we had Sarova sponsoring the national event, they just started something called Nairobi Central Business, and Philip Kisia was the chairman. So Kisia, we brought him into the committee and connected us with Chris Kirubi, the late Chris Kirubi. And Kirubi had an airline that was at his office in his building at International Life House. That's Air Malawi. So what Air Malawi did was gave us 10 tickets, and these tickets, in return, were just to do a day in Blantyre. Who doesn't want holiday? So we went for that. That means we had 20 tickets. That means 21 people are down in South Africa supporting this young girl. So again, just having extra people, even your morale on stage, you feel my country is here. I believe with a bubble on that seat, we might have those numbers to get us to that stage. The other thing is when they get back, some country, like I said, it's like a festival. When you see Argentina or France after winning the World Cup, there's a road show in town. There are a lot of things that are cancelled. We want to see Miss Kenya, whether she wins or not, from the airport where they at least are given milk. We give her water because the mothers believe in water, and take her through the city of Nairobi just to celebrate a win. She represents, on that catwalk, there's no Cindy. They don't even know that name Cindy. It's usually the Sash, Kenya. So we appeal for the government and our able sponsors to be able to put this, because it's giving them, like Cynthia said, it changes your lifestyle, it changes your thinking, it gives you that leadership capability. So I think that's what that older generation that is in leadership didn't understand. They just thought some random girls are doing the catwalk and stuff. But we need them to sit down and understand this is one thing that's going to change, and it's going to make a lot of these young people get employment. Employment is not taking them to do juakali or sit in the office. We have a lot of girls who actually did not win the pageant, but they are doing catwalks in New York, London, South Africa, and making good money off this. So it just needs a good platform, get those people who are not aware that the pageant is going on, and give them this platform. Somebody will see them and say, this is what I want, and change a whole community's lifestyle because of one person. Yes.
Okay. Cindy, Liki's talking about, you know, if the government comes on board and supports this industry, perhaps things will be a bit smoother than they are. And this makes me want to ask you, have you experienced any technical challenges that you'd sat and said, if only I had full support from my government, things would have been different, or perhaps your friends as well in the same industry?
Yes, I think that's very right. We have a very big gap on government support when it comes to pageantry, really. Pageantry really takes a lot, and it's a competition in the long run. So when you're there, it's like you're competing between 70 countries, and each country is doing their best to make sure they win. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of even finances and everything for preparation of a pageantry. So I think with the government support, it will take us like a really, really long way. A lot of beauty queens should, for a lot of pageants, are able maybe to go have one to go to a pageant, an international pageant, but they don't even have tickets to get there, which is always really sad, because they have everything it takes to even win the pageant, but they cannot even go there. And it, of course, takes a mental strain on someone to start harambes and just ask for money consistently. And it's not about even financial support alone. It's even about just supporting you. Like when we were even in Tokyo, a lot of countries sent their embassies to pick people from the office, and just feeling at home when you see other people from your country. So there is a very big gap in government support in pageantry. And there's a little bit of support, but I think with more support we will be able to do better and have a smooth run on the pageantry sector. It can be better, yes.
I want to ask about when it comes to walking on the runway. A lot of times when a Kenyan model is captured, you know, and especially wearing the bikinis, and that's how you still call them, the photos trend, and not in a good light, because of course in our culture we believe in decency and all. And I saw a certain photo of a model who it was covered, you know how you sketch and it looks like a skirt, Nini? And people are saying, oh, what are we becoming? You know, what about our culture? Does modeling have to get our girls expose their bodies like this? And I'd like to hear from you on this, because even as much as we're talking about taking the whole industry to another level, calling the government to support, what about our own culture? Because I believe we have to change our perspective even as individuals, so that you're able to support your daughter, you're able to support your son as well. So let's talk about this when it comes to modeling and what we as Kenyans call decency.
So I think, we have the bikini or swimsuit category in pageantry, and really it's just for the judges to see how much you take care of your body. It's not about anything else, just to see if you're fit, if you're taking care of your skin, and it does not matter how you look or whatever. That's just what the swimsuit category is for. And I think we still have a long way for us to make it known to every other Kenyan, like what pageantry really is. And some people, it's sad that some people don't understand, and of course they come to the bikini category and look at it, but they don't understand we have like 6 or 7 categories on the way. We even have a question and answer where the contestants sell their countries so well and talk about their countries really, really well.
Yeah.
So if they would take the opportunity to watch the whole pageantry from the beginning to the end, I think they will better understand what really it is for. And even the swimsuit category, it's very less of a percentage in the pageantry, which is 10 marks, and just, yeah, as I say, just to see if you're taking care of your skin. And that's it about it.
Okay.
And I think with time, it's better right now, because like 10 years ago it was where it was. So it's growing on the better side slowly, and we just hope that maybe within 2 or 3 years from now, I'm sure it will be hard, but all models everywhere are trying to let everyone know that it's more about, it's more than just bikinis on a stage.
Okay,
Yes.
I think you put it quite well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Licky, would you like to add something on that?
Yeah, I think there are critics in every area. They criticize Christianity, they criticize. So, first, before you criticize, we need to go back to our traditional. We didn't wear clothes, number one. So when people say we're trying to get these girls walk naked, then I think they don't understand the African culture. We should be talking about why are we dressing in the Western way of dressing. Now, thirdly, pageant is accommodating so much. For example, in 2002, the Miss World was meant to be held in Nigeria. The German country did a whole auditorium for the event. 3 days to the event, people went on the streets because some religious writer did something, and guys went to the street. So the girls were airlifted back to London, the headquarters for the pageant. So we missed an opportunity, because they say Miss World and Miss Universe can only be compared to the opening and closing of the World Cup in terms of viewership. That means the country gains a lot of money. Imagine, like you said, there are 70 for Miss International. Miss World, there are over 100 contestants. People understand how countries operate. These guys are paying to come in, their media guys are paying and stuff like that. So we missed it and we went back to London. Now, 20 years later, Miss World is accommodating. This year, Miss World is going to a Muslim country, which is Dubai. This would not have been had 20 years ago. Last year, Somali had the first contestant to contest, in fact, in a hijab. She went viral for being part of Miss World, and I think that's what drove them to sending the event to Dubai. So the pageant is actually understanding what the world is saying, and because they understand that leadership and what is behind it. So instead of fighting the critics, we sit down and see what will change and make this event better. For example, Miss World, there's never bikini on stage. They do it during the pre-judging. Miss Universe, I think, is now removing it, but it's been there. Miss International does it. But again, like Cindy said, it's not even 10%, about 5%, because the 40% on stage on that night, it's only 40%. 60% is out there. So usually, people don't look at your mistake. People don't look at the good things you do. That small mistake will damage the entire good things that you've done. So I think, to advise the critics, let's give our sisters and brothers who are in pageantry an opportunity to be able to prosper or get mileage in their career. For example, Cindy is an accountant. She does teach the less fortunate kids mathematics during the time for exams and stuff like that. She wouldn't probably have done that if she didn't go into pageantry to get opportunity to go and talk. You're talking to a school as how or who. A good example is Yolanda Masinde. When she won Miss World, she was a secretary. But she got ahead and fell in love with kids and went back to school. Went to Montessori and now taught, and she went and did her master's. She's now a psychologist. The reason behind that was Miss World. So a lot of things people need to learn, that we're learning so much from just getting out, like just getting out of that airport. It doesn't matter where you're going, it may be Uganda, Tanzania, but you learn something different. And this is what we, as a media, as a people, need to tell guys. It's not about that beautiful girl walking on the catwalk. Yes.
All right, great.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a very short break. But keep it right here because this conversation will continue. Today we're talking about modeling and fashion. So keep it right here. We're taking a very short break. See you in a few. The Department of PCA Children Ministry Head Office has good news for you. Are you looking for a profession that does not disappoint? The place to be is at PCEA Shalom ECDE College, offering a course for diploma in ECDE. Requirements are KCSE mean grade of C and above. You can also do upgrading from an ECDE certificate to a diploma, and the requirements are an ECDE certificate. Intake is currently ongoing, offering flexible modes of learning on e-learning or full-time. Enroll now and register for the 2023 class on our main campus at Zambezi Kikuyu along Nairobi Naivasha Road Lay Training Center. You can also apply online via the PCEA Shalom ECDE online registration form. Shalom Academy and Junior Secondary School intake is ongoing. We have a one-year offer on zero tuition fee to all new grade 7 students. For more information, call the office on 0111 758 285 or 0113 107 958. You can get in touch with the director, Reverend Peters, on 0725 236 260. Send us an email, pcashalomdekte@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram too at pcashalomdekte. Hostels and meals are available for the students in the same venue at a competitive price. You're welcome for a bright future career. Welcome to PCEA Abundant Hope Academy in Eldoret for primary section grade 1 to grade 6 and junior secondary grade 7. We have boarding facilities and we offer transport too. Interviews are currently ongoing. PCEA Abundant Hope Academy is located in Eldoret, opposite Rift Valley Bottlers along Mifugo Street, PO Box 863-30-100 Eldoret. For more information, please call us on 0725 666 512 or 0722 698 693. This is where your child should be. Welcome. back and thank you for keeping it Kirk mid-morning. In studio with me is still Cindy and Liki Odera. And we are talking about the fashion and modeling industry. So if in case you have any questions or comments, you keep them coming on our social media pages. That is Kirk TV Kenya, and I'll be having a look at them as we continue with the conversation. I think I'd like us to start the second part by talking about something I saw trend, was it earlier this year or late last year, about the fashion and modeling industry. And it seemed like several models had come up together and decided to expose what goes on. And they were talking about a certain model who'd won, and they were saying, no, she doesn't deserve it because they were claiming she had paid. And so I want us to talk about this when it comes to this industry. Is it something that happens when we're talking about transparency? And not just in Kenya, even looking at the bigger picture, I think I'd want us to touch on that. Let me start with you, Cindy. For the few competitions you've been in, what have you seen happen?
So, I've done, I think, about maybe 5 national competitions so far. And to be honest, I have not seen any unfairness in it. Maybe it's there, but whatever I've seen is not unfairness in any. Every lady goes there with a purpose and an intention, and we all work really, really hard. There is a lot of criticisms, of course, from other contestants and everyone. But whatever I've done, everyone who won deserved to have won. And it has all been done with fairness. Everyone put their best foot forward and their A game. And I think with pageantry, the mentality you're meant to go there is to learn more and just to get more networks, other than you want to only win, because it destroys the purpose that why you are in pageantry. And I'm not in a right position to talk about people who have had unfair competitions, because I've not experienced one so far.
Okay, I think I like it when you talk about, it's not just about winning and resilience. I like that, because what you've shared with us, that you didn't win your first try, your second try. So you're talking about something you've experienced. Okay. Liki, when we come to transparency and fairness, Cindy has said there is fairness. I'd like you to touch on this as well.
I think people will talk. When you go into a competition, you're going to win. When you lose, you feel like there's some things which are not done right. We'll not say 100% this does not happen. Now, this depends on pageant. Like I said, there are over 300 pageants in the world. In Kenya, I think there are thousands of pageants. I saw one and I was very embarrassed, where the winners had some we call them number tags for the judges can identify. They've taken the exercise books, the page from the exercise books I just wrote. That means the person who was doing the pageant wasn't keen about the event. So at those kinds of events, this person does not love what they're doing. So they're not doing it correctly. So you end up in a mess. So people will complain. Now sometimes it's misunderstanding. We have thousands of so-called models, and they have not gone through the understanding that there's that 60% that we look for. So when you come there and you think that outer beauty will take you out, then you realize that somebody who's worked so hard to get the 60%, and you're not in the top 10. Of course, you and your people or the people around will say, hey, why did she make it? So of course rumor will go out. Some is mismanagement. I was involved in the Nairobi Festival, which was done in December last year. There was a lot of disorganization. You've seen people complaining up to last week. They've not been paid. So the organizing committee that was doing pageantry mixed everything. You cannot judge a fashion model and a beauty queen together. So at the end of the day, people didn't understand what was happening. So there was a lot of talk and crash. There's so much bitterness in the pageant. So you end up being in a bad place because somebody did not do their work well. So I think it's just about when people understand, and that's what I was saying, it would be very nice when the media takes it over and we are able to see one of the things that now I believe on the minister, they're trying to work on an association that we will regulate. So you cannot just sit today and say, I want to start doing Miss Kirk. You must go through a process. And that is what is missing. So I think with that, it will be controlled. In the world pageant, it's just like football World Cup. France cannot win all the time. So there must be a way that they'll have teams work very hard to make it happen. Like we said, it's not that Africa has not worked very hard to win the Miss World, but it will get to a point where they just have to have an African girl win. They may not be the best out of the contestants, but she stands out. Like, for example, last year, Miss Ivory Coast stood out so much that I thought she would win the Miss World last year, but unfortunately she didn't win. So it's not that they're given, they've worked so hard, and we're saying we actually need to market this event. Africans are complaining, they've not been there. At some point we decide, Africa, we need to protest. We need the pageants to be won. So again, by the time we're doing that, we must have gotten very smart girls to be able to, again, say, we are lucky. Is it our color or is it the pageant? So again, like I said in the past about religion and stuff, this is already changing. There are countries like South Africa, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Angola, who are very keen on pageantry. And you cannot compare it with Kenya. Kenya has been in this pageantry business for a very long time. Like I say, in 1985, the girl that won Miss, they usually have, like in Miss World, the continental winners, they're called the beauty of Africa, the beauty of Asia and stuff. Khadija Adams won the African Queen in 1985. And if you Google her, I should say she's one of the most successful beauty queen that went into pageantry. The only Kenyan or Eastern African Central to appear on Cosmopolitan. You just don't appear on that. So again, if it was done in 1985, we can still do it. That now we have internet, we have more know-how on pageantry and beauty. Yes,
Cindy, there's a question I think I should have started with. How does it feel to win and to have a title?
Well, I think, to be honest, it's basically the best feeling because, of course, your dreams have just come true. And it comes with a lot of responsibilities because it's a 1 year of, I can call full-time job, if not part-time job, to really push whatever you have wanted to for all this time and still work together with everyone that you are in the pageant because, of course, you're just honored to win and have the crown. And there's still a lot of people who you have been together with the pageant who also have a purpose, and you have to bring it together in the table and know how to work. So it's the best feeling, and it comes with a lot of responsibilities. You really have to plan your year because sometimes the year passes by and you've not done whatever you have to do, which is a fail on you. So it's basically a big responsibility on your end. Yes.
Okay. And what does the future look like for you in pageantry?
So I think I would say this is just the beginning. I'm not going to actively be a contestant in any pageant, but this is the beginning of my pageantry journey where I'm going to mentor young girls, and I want Kenya to also be known and be seen as it should, because I think, and I always tell myself, we really have the best pageantry models in Kenya. And I want the world to know that as well. So I will try to, of course, work hard with every other person in the pageantry to help the young girls to make their journey be smooth, to let them know what has to be done at what time, and to raise the Kenyan flag high when it comes to international pageants. Yes.
Why have you chosen that direction to step down from active contesting?
I think I've done my part in contesting, and yeah, I've represented Kenya in Nigeria and in Tokyo, Japan, and the experiences I've had, they're just life-changing, and I think it's time for me to share those experiences with other young people.
Yeah.
So yeah, and of course age too, my age is growing, and we have an age limit in pageantry, so yeah, I'm happy to step down and guide those who are meant to come and take after me.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I think all the best in that decision.
Thank you.
Most times people want to hold on and not give space for others who are coming.
Thanks.
And talking about mentorship, I think that's something that bears good fruits, you know, and goes a long way.
Yes, thank you.
Licky, there's a question here when it comes to modeling about how can I put it? You know, if you're light skinned, then you have a certain advantage, if I can put it that way. But when we look at a lot of pageantry, I think I'd say for me, I'm more attracted to the dark skinned contestants. But let's talk about, I don't know, should I say color, skin color or something when it comes to pageantry and all? Yeah.
I think that's a perception. One of the most unbelievable queen in Miss World Kenya was Jeruto. Number one in Miss World, you have to be a 5'8". She was a 5'5". Number two, she was dark skin. Number three, she had short hair, and she made it in the top 10. When people say the light skin is more preferable, I don't know what they're talking about. Because when you go now, leave alone pageantry, when you go now to London, New York, they're looking at that, I would call it blue-black. It's not even black. The Northern Kenya people where they have beautiful skin. We're trying to push that narrative because it's been sold and people listen. When you first talk about it, people will listen to you. When now you come second, you'll be defending yourself. And that has really damaged some of our young people because they've gone into bleaching because they think light skin is beauty. The world is really changing, and we in Europe, when you're dark skin, you get an opportunity better than the light skin. Okay. So that narrative is slowly going. Yeah.
Okay. So do not judge. If you'd advise a young girl who has probably experienced some kind of bullying here and there because she's dark, you'd tell her that's okay.
The best thing we have is our color. There other races cannot bleach. They would admire what we have. So trying to be like them, then you want to be second. Nobody in this world wants to be second. So for me, I think if you look at Cindy, she's not that light skin we're talking about. If you look at the queen that has taken over Beauty of Africa, Misri, she's not light skin. Like I said, it's about your inner beauty, your intelligence, your personality, your leadership capability. So keep your skin real, be you. In this world, if you're not yourself, then you're losing because you have to be yourself first to win. And this is a competition. So if you believe on number two, then you become number two always. And once you bleach, you're not yourself. So let's keep ourselves. The way we look, if people talk about you, if you listen to them, then you're going to fail. Okay. Hear people, but don't listen to them. Do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, like that. Hear people, but don't listen to them. Allow me to ask, when you meet with contestants, do you take them through, can I say, classes, a counseling, or something of that sort? Because now we're talking about skin, and I realize a lot of people get bullied or get discouraged when they're young, and probably this is something you still hold on to even now you're of age and you're here contesting in something. So do you take them through kind of a class or counseling session or anything?
One of the things that I've done with years is once you come in and say, Licky, either I've gotten your number or I want to do ABCD, I first tell them, this is a very hard career. You need to believe in yourself. Some people think it's very easy. So I take them through what it takes to be a queen or a king. So the people who've passed through my hands, in fact, most of the my models call me Baba. So I keep telling guys I was the Baba before Baba was named Baba. Some who are now mothers and stuff, but they still appreciate what they had from me when they were getting into pageantry, and has really taught them to be what they are today. Yeah, so some of them go into pageantry, jump in without mentorship, and they end up being very messy. This industry, like when you forget about pageantry, about modeling, we call it showbiz, and there's no biz like showbiz. So you have to be that person that people admire and carries you away. You find a lot of models end up in drugs and stuff like that because they're feeling they've not gotten to that place because so-and-so has made it to be called for a secret bikini shoot, which is paying thousands of dollars, or she's flying to New York for a photo shoot, she's going to Cape Town to do a wine ad. So because you're competing with someone, then you find you're so frustrated, and if you don't have a strong mentor, then you end up breaking down. So you find a lot of, not just in modeling, even in football, athletics, some people end up losing it because they didn't have a strong foundation in whatever they're doing. Yes.
Cindy,
Oh, yeah.
you're agreeing that
Yes,
that's true.
I think it's true. I think as a model, first thing you have to do is believe in yourself and be authentic. I think what the world wants to see is that uniqueness you have. Yeah, how different you are. So when you try to fit in and look like everyone else, that is where you're getting lost. Yeah, everyone wants to see the real you. Everyone wants to see who you are and how unique you are from everyone else.
Yeah.
So I would advise everyone, like, just you are, like, it is true, this saying, which can be a cliche right now, but you're like just beautiful the way you are. And just standing out and making people see who you are and making people appreciate who you are. That's what the world wants to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you experience or encounter any kind of bullying or ridicule because of your physique?
I think sometimes, but I end up laughing about it. Yeah, I think there was a shoot I did, and then some Indonesians, I was in a pink cloth, and then they started calling me flamingo. I don't know how it was, but I thought it was a flamingo is beautiful, and I think I take it to my advantage because I know, people will criticize no matter what. So I was very lucky to have like the self-confidence from when I was not young. Maybe I gained it with years, but I understand that no one can bring me down, like no matter what. So that's what, to be honest, I can say has sold in me, because I don't try to be anyone else. When I go to any pageant or any situation, I tell people this is who I am, and people would love you for who you are, really.
Okay.
So
I don't know if that's an aspect that a lot of models have been able to, can I say, learn? You know, believing in yourself no matter what.
I think so. Yeah.
For someone who's out there and probably they're struggling with the self-image, self-acceptance as well, and they're in this industry, what would you tell them? What would you advise?
I think I think every single person is struggling with something, and the moment you realize that, and there's no perfectionism, it's just about how you view yourself. There's no beauty standards right now, because when you grow thin, everyone will say, oh, she looks very thin, she has to be a bit fatter. When you grow a bit fatter, everyone will talk about it. So you cannot impress anyone, and just be comfortable in your own skin. And we have very leading models in all sizes, shapes, colors, and everything. And even with any skin condition, like Winnie Harlow, she's the biggest and leading model. So the world accepts you. You should not fit in. They should
Stand
accept
out.
you for, that's true.
Okay. I think I'd also like to ask, how did you deal with, going to a pageantry and not winning? There's something about losing when everyone knows you did not win.
Yeah.
And there's several you did attend.
Yes.
You didn't, when you are not crowned.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
I think it's of course, yeah, a bit sad, but when you realize out of 50 young ladies, they have to pick one young lady, yeah, you'll understand there's also, and when you realize there are a lot of pageants waiting for you, you'll understand, yeah, you just need to keep pushing, and it's not the end of the road, really. And yeah, I see a lot of times models are really depressed when they don't win. But that should not be the case, because you all have the same platform, really. The winner just maybe has the title, which they can also air their things. But even as Liki said, there are some people who did not win and were runners up, but have even succeeded more than the winner are. So it depends on how you take it. So we are normally told, like, go home with just positivity and just try building from whatever you've done. So, and in fact, in almost all pageants, or most, I've seen like a lot of people who've won, like doing even better than the queen. Yeah, because everyone knows, oh, I participated in Miss International, and I'm still Miss International Kenya, and I still have the voice. Even if I was a finalist, I still talk from the pageants that I didn't win, even my first ever pageant, because it just brings your voice. You went there and you're already a winner. When you're there, you've already carried yourself and walked on a stage, and that's already a winning aspect.
Okay, yes. That's beautiful. We have talked quite a lot about the government and just supporting this industry and what its support could do. I think I also want us to still focus on that a bit. Liki, you've expressed, what can I say, confidence in the current regime. But even as we come to an end of our program today, what steps can the government take? What active steps, what measures can they put to see that at least this industry has been revolutionized?
Not confident in the regime, but with some part of the regime. Okay. I'm confident first to start with the county that I live in. I was born and bred, which is Nairobi County, with a young governor. One of the most important parts, America makes a lot of money out of art. Governor Sakaja has given the chief officer, Bwana Clement Rapudo, who many of us grew up listening to his beat Claymore, as CFO. That means he understands what the industry is going through. So I've had several talks with him, and is positive about not just pageantry, but the entire art. When Ababu gives these young people a task force to advise them, then some of them would come to us because they are our age mates, so we're able to understand what exactly went wrong. So if the government listens, then we are able to change the narrative, because I think both sides of the political scene thought the only way to get people out of poverty is Mama Mboga and the piki person. There's a group of people in the middle here who are forgotten, and these are the artists. I mean, they use artists. So, for example, in 2002, the people that changed the Kenyan campaign was Gidigidi Majimaji and Bogebo. And it was the first time Kenya ever appeared on the Times magazine, which is not in it, and they wrote about the Bogebo song. And immediately, Gidigidi Majimaji got an opportunity to get a recording deal with the biggest recording, the Gallo record in South Africa. So thinking, if the models are given an opportunity, like Sakaja wants to do the festival every year, it might end up being part of the fashion weeks around the world, people coming just to see our industry. Like I said before, the Miss University Africa is sponsored by different governors at different states in Nigeria. That makes the pageant very big in Nigeria. There are thousands of young people who are now dying to be in pageantry. I get 10 to 15 calls every day. I got your number from so-and-so. Would I be part of your company to be able to do this? Because apart from pageantry, I decided to start a company that helps in marketing and promotions, advertising and stuff. So when my people are out there and they're talking about what we do, so we employed a lot of people in the marketing industry. So if this is done, probably 10 of us who are in this industry giving 10 people jobs every month, then we are trying to eradicate poverty of this country, and let's stop thinking about the mama mboga and these young people who are jua kali and stuff like that. Let's rethink out of the box and give opportunity. I think government has forgotten that arts really sells. Like, for example, I think, like we talked about critics, and I forgot to talk about this. In 2003, when Lupita won the Miss Malaika, all people said, oh, Liki, she won because the dad was the minister of planning them. But actually she won because that was her career path. If probably then she did not get that opportunity, maybe she would have never ended in sugar and ended to go and learn arts in the States and made it as the first black African girl to win an Oscar. So I think it's just trying to get those brilliant minds to sit down on the table and share the cake, and I mean, we'll have a very successful country. I think they say the journey starts with a step. And I think this government, with the help of few people who have the know-how of a generation, I mean, like we look at very successful people that changed the world, the likes of John F. Kennedy. They were in their 30s, late 30s, the Sakajas, the Claymores, and that's where this government, I mean, this nation is going to change. For me, what I think is, and my word usually is, some people tell me, you sound like a pastor. The book that motivates me is Matthew 6:33, seek ye the kingdom. And that has always, when I talk to my people, I tell them, just go and read that verse and think about it. And some of them come back and say, Liki, that has given me a lot of motivation. This is why I wake up every day to do what I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. For someone who's watching us, or someone who will come across this, and they have been wanting to join the industry, they know someone, maybe they're a parent to a child, what would be your advice to them, Cindy?
I think to start with, you have to know the industry well, or know the different types of modeling. I think so that you know what you can fit in well. Because there, a lot. There's pageantry, and then there's high fashion modeling, commercial modeling, and different types of modeling. Apart from pageantry, so they all want different kind of people. So you have to understand the industry well, and then get the right mentorship. Like stick to people who are going to help you throughout the journey. And there are a lot of mentorship classes, and also people who've been there in the industry for 20 plus years, like him. So get a lot of advice from them. So that's the first steps, really.
Okay. Liki?
Yeah, I think it's not easy, and there's nothing easy in this world. One of the things that we need to understand, first, like pageantry, it's very expensive. You can't compare it with the fashion runway advertising. I mean, like runway, you don't need to even understand a word in English or Swahili. You can be in New York making millions because you have that body that they're looking for. In pageantry, you have to get your clothes, you have to go through etiquette classes. She'll tell you she'll spend thousands of shillings getting, you need about 40 different attires for every day when you're there at boot camp. So as a parent, no, this is just like taking your kid to a training. It may be engineering and stuff like that. So they need to come in with that open mind that it will cost you for you to be able to get something successful out of this industry. Yes.
That's good. I think at this point I'd like to hear your parting shots. Happy to be in today, and thank you so much for
show the whole world what we have to offer in pageantry.
Yeah. All right, great. Like.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. We've been dying for it. I'm happy that Kenya is understanding that art is really selling. And from what we've seen, Lupita making millions, was engineer, the footballer, making everyone wants him. Probably would be is making more money that he would have been making as an engineer.
Yeah.
So I asked the government to just concentrate and listen to the cry of the art, not just pageantry, and I'm sure we're going to go places. Thank you very much for this great opportunity.
All right, it has been lovely having you on board. Thank you for being here, Cindy Isendi and Diki Odara, our guest on today's program. Well, I hope you've learned a lot about the fashion and modeling industry and that you have a bit understanding of it, even the things that we heavily criticize, that now you're in a better position. Thank you so much to you as well for tuning in to Kirk Mid Morning this day. We end it right here. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.